if you do know somebody who is going through depression, or not just depression, or any kind of a mental illness, we need to make sure, all right, we need to make sure that we do not disappear on them. All right, what I mean by that is, if you know that someone who you care about, or someone who you love is going through something like this, we need to make sure that we do have a regular interaction or regular checkup on them, to make sure that they are okay and to understand how they are feeling. Because it takes a lot and lot for a person who is depressed to talk about how they are feeling and to talk about their emotions. It's not an easy thing to do for a person who is depressed. It takes a lot for them to talk about it. It takes a lot for them to trust and open up to somebody about it, right? And once they do that, and if they see that the person who they talked to, who they shared things with, disappeared at the next day or the next moment, they will not be able to take it. They will not definitely be not be able to take that. All right, they will become even more worse. The situation or the state that they are in will become even more worse because of what we do, intentionally or unintentionally. All right, because we need to understand that this is just to understand the importance of our presence, or of what we can do to someone, for someone who is going through something like this. All right, because like I said, it takes a lot for someone to talk about this. All right, it takes a lot and lot for them to open up and share their feelings. And once they do share, it's our duty, or it's our job, to make sure that we are there for them as much as possible. Like, talk to them and to regularly check on them. All right, to make sure that they are doing okay, to just to understand their feelings. Because they are expecting that. They definitely expect that. One of the reasons they do talk to you about it, they do open up to you, is because they want you to talk to them about it. They want you to open up to some. They want you to make sure that you talk to them about it, to ask them how they are doing, right? Definitely sometimes what happens is they may not be in the state to talk about it. They may not completely be willing to speak about how they are feeling at that point of time. That's okay, that's all right. But at the end of the day, they will still, to a certain extent, feel happy that you were there to check up on them. All right, because that's most important. Because to not make a mistake or to not disappear on somebody who you know is going through a lot, any kind of mental illness and depression, right? And do not disappear on them. Do not make a mistake of disappearing on them. All right, if you know that someone is going through this, all right, please make sure that you are regularly checking on them, how much ever is possible by you. Right, this is not something that you have to be there for them all the time, or you have, it's your duty to make sure that they are doing fine. No, it's definitely not any of this. It's just a way of showing that you care. All right, that's it. I'm sorry about that. So it's just a way of showing that you care. Right? That's the most important thing. Right? Disappearing, like I said, intentionally or unintentionally, uh, can definitely make things for a person who is going through depression or who is dealing with some kind of mental illness. Right? What you can do is just, like I said, talk to them, understand how they're feeling, just ask them how they are. Do not stop with that question of how they are. Right? Ask them about how are other things, are they able to work, or are they eating well, or are they sleeping well. Continue with these questions. Try to ask them this question so that they are able to open up more about it, because that's very very much required right now. Because what happens is that, we are seeing a pattern, all right, of depression becoming worse, all right, by the people, who we care about. All right, it becomes worse not by any other external factors, but by the people who are there for them. Right? Because we are seeing a pattern where, depression is becoming worse because they open up to somebody, they do share about how they're feeling to somebody, trusting them that they can do that. But what they observe is that they are disappearing on them. All right, the person who they talk to, who the person who they share things with, they just disappear like that. All right, what this makes a person who's going through depression understand is that, what message this sends to this person is that, they do not care about it. All right, you made a big mistake, right, by talking about it, or I made a big mistake by speaking about my depression, or how something which is very personal to me, somebody who does not care about me. All right, it keeps running in their mind. All right, and that makes the depression even more worse, and also makes it even more worse because they start thinking that they cannot share it, or they cannot open up to anybody else, because they had an experience before when they did try to open up to somebody and they ignored them, or they disappear on them. All right, please don't do that. Intentionally or unintentionally, you're making things worse for a person who's going through depression or any kind of mental illness. Right, how much ever you can. Right, like I said, it's not your duty. Do not think it's your duty to make them feel better, or to make them happy. It is not. Right, and what you can do are simple things, small things, that to just, like I said, to just make sure that you check upon them, to ask them how they're doing, to ask them how are things with them. Right, so little things like this can help the person to open up more, and to help the person to understand their emotions better by talking to you about it. So please do that. All right, please do not disappear on person who is going through something like this, especially when they tell you that they open up to you about it. Please don't do that. All right, just make sure that you're there for them as much as possible by you, because that's the most important thing. All right, so in depression, or in this state of depression, all right, simple things like this, small things like this, is that what matters. All right, thank you.